And we're back. Hello. So
Hello.
we had a technical difficulty and a power loss here because my electrical system in my house sucks, and we ran three things, and well, that happens. So we're good. We're back. We're going to start the whole thing over though. So I'll get rid of the old video here. That's on our pages later. Um, but yeah, that happened. That's
Oh,
you know
there are worse things to happen.
there are worse things to happen, like this episode of Star Trek. No, just kidding.
Well, yeah.
And again, testing the chat. All right, good. That went. All right. So I need to open Docs so that I can see what we're doing. Need to open that website. In case I need to have a cheat sheet. And okay, I have to change my stream deck to Trekcast. There's that. We are streaming live. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I'm sorry. All right. So, well, we know we're ready again. So, yeah, I mean, we were only like 3 minutes in. I say we just, do this. So, you got your red button ready?
Got the red button ready.
All right. 3, 2,
Two,
1.
one,
Click.
click.
This week on Your Father's Trek podcast, we're going to talk about Picard Season 3, Episode 7. We're going to go through and talk about everything that happened there, or everything that didn't happen there, as well as talk about some awesome things to watch in addition to it, and even some of the news that came out today about some of the shows coming. All this and more for the amazing low price of free, only here on Your Father's Trek podcast, and we'll be right back after this really cool new intro video if you're watching, but if you're listening in the car, it's going to sound a lot like last week. Podcasting. That ritual performed by middle-aged men seeking broadcast validation in the internet age. What you are about to listen to is two longtime fans break down concepts and ideas of all Star Trek media. We will inform, we will entertain, because we are Your Father's Trek Podcast. Starring Will as the Old Man Gamer and JP as, well, JP. Talking about new episodes of Star Trek, old episodes of Star Trek, Star Trek comic books, Star Trek video games, Star Trek the Flamethrower, and anything else they feel like, because hey, it's their cast. So sit back, relax, have a of choice. Unless you're driving, then for God's sake, pay attention to the road. Here are Will and Dee talking Trek.
Mr. Worf, open hailing frequency.
All right, and we're here. We recorded about 3 minutes of an episode, and then we lost power. So we're back again, though, this time for reals. Hope you all are doing well. My name is Will, otherwise known as Old Man Gamer. Greetings, salutations, and welcome to the show. We are very excited to be here tonight. I'm glad to introduce my co-host, my buddy, my pal, JP, sir. How are you tonight?
I'm doing wonderful, especially considering the stuff in the past that we're not going to talk about that became the focal point of all my being and moaning.
Oh, what do you mean, like the snow stuff that you brought up earlier?
No,
Your shoulder. Oh, don't take
stuff.
that. You can't take that seriously. Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't
no,
want to give
I'm
you a
not.
complex. I didn't.
No,
I feel like I'm like
no.
Oh, now I feel bad. I'm gonna give you a
No.
complex. I mean, I don't want to give you a complex, man.
My shoulder's actually a lot better today than it was. I did go to the orthopedic acute care, and they gave me a course of steroids, and that knocked out about 95% of the pain. So we're good to go.
Well, that's good. That makes me very happy to hear.
Lots of stuff coming our way today, and I don't think I can do this. Let me see.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no, I'm just trying to do something here. I'm trying to broadcast on our Discord, and I don't think it's going to work, so I'm just going to stop that live show. And I think it's actually going to slow my computer down to a crawl. So, actually, yeah, tons of stuff has been going on. What's been new with you? Anything exciting, or...
Just prepping for the next 2 rounds of Snowmageddon we're supposed to get tonight, tomorrow, and then Tuesday another wave.
Oh, I feel for you. I'm going to be in the 60s, so I'll salute, my brother. Oh, and tonight I am drinking. I opened it on the first version of the show. I'm drinking tonight a Fat Scotsman Scotch Ale, 8.6% alcohol by volume. So this show's going to get really good right around the third act. So we have got, lots has been going on with me. I'm streaming a little bit more of Marvel Snap content lately. I discovered something new. The actual Second Dinner has an official Snap Discord, and they have voice channels in there. And I noticed people were streaming games all the time in there, right? And I'm like, well, if they're going to stream in there, why shouldn't I, as a content creator, stream in there as well? Get the word out about Old Man Gamer. And it's kind of been great because what happens is guys show up and they start talking in the voice chat. And so now they become a part of the show. Like if it's a kid, I got to be like, listen, you got to go. I can't, you can hang out. What I do is I mute them. Because, I think there's like laws about broadcasting a kid's voice. You know what? Whether or not there's a law, just not sure I feel comfortable about it. Yeah. But like last night, if you check the stream out on my Twitch channel, Old Man Gamer NY, I had a dude just hanging out in there all night. And he's like talking about stuff. It was like, all right, this is cool. This is good. This is content. This is great. I have completed Pool 4. I have all of Pool 4's cards, which is awesome and fantastic. It means I'm 12,000 tokens away from having a complete set until they start releasing new cards next month. So... But
I was going to say in like 4 days or something like that.
Yeah, they haven't said what they're going to do. Usually you get 1 week to they take the first week of the new season to kind of let you get your feet under you, and you get the new card that comes with the season pack. And then they start dropping like cards every week after that. I'm not sure how much of those I'm going to get because, to be quite honest, I need to make sure I get enough for High Evolutionary. The May drop, that card's going to change everything. All those cards you have that have no abilities, High Evolutionary is going to give them abilities.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah. And again, this is not the, Marvel Snap podcast hour, but yeah, I'm having a lot of fun playing Marvel Snap. And, my wife's ex-husband, he did have his kidney. He got his new kidney. He's still up in the hospital here in the capital region in New York, and he's resting comfortably. Nick, if you're listening, I'll be surprised because you hate the internet, but, hope you're feeling well. We'll probably go up there this weekend. But, right now, we have an amazing show tonight. We're going to talk a lot about Episode 7 of Dominion, or Episode 7 of Picard called Dominion.
All right, and that's the end of our show.
Yeah, welcome to the show. Yeah, this spoiler alert, I got some feelings on the subject. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting to talk about that. And then we're going to talk a little bit, obviously we're going to get into some speculation on our part as far as, what we think is going to be happening, how things are going to go down. Then we're going to talk a little bit about some of the news that came out today. There was some news that, showed up as far as, another Star Trek show they're putting together. And I definitely have feelings on that as well. And then, we'll finish off as we normally do. So hopefully we have time for Matt Damon. Yes, that's right. I'm even going Kimmel here, folks. But no, let's, if you've got nothing else, dude, to talk about here in Hailing Frequencies, we might as well go ahead and get ourselves right into the episode. What do you think?
Let's go ahead and press that button.
All right, let's hit it.
Engage. No, don't engage. Energize. That's what we say in this room.
Okay. Picard, Season 3, Episode 7, titled Dominion, directed by Deborah Kampmeyer and written by Jane Maggs, not by Terry Metellus, and it's ridiculously obvious. Why don't you tell us a little bit here, JP, about what the episode was about?
Would you like to hear it again?
That's what we call humor, folks.
This was a nothing episode.
I don't know that I'd go so far as to call it a nothing, but it definitely was. Yeah,
it made a couple plot points and pushed the story forward a little bit, but I think it could have been done in half the time, if not less.
I have to agree with you. This episode, all right, again, spoiler alert, my overall feeling is this is definitely, they were like, we have 9 1/4 really great stuff coming. Okay, so how the hell do we fill out the other 75%? Well, lucky number 7. Sound good? Yeah, that sounds great. Let's do that. All right, now, and it's like, I can imagine what the writing room was like. They were like, okay, if we're going to make an episode like this, what are we going to do? We're going to need a guest star. I think we've kind of played out the guest stars from TNG. Well, what about Darmok? Paul Winfield died 20 years ago. Damn it. Okay. And then somebody gets the ingenious idea, be like, what's Tim Russ up to these days? And I'll tell you right now, that was the highlight for me. That for me was the best part of the episode. But it's obvious this was 100% a filler episode to get them to the final endgame, which is what I thought episode 5 was. So the fact that they're it's kind of like, okay, and I said it before in episode 5, I'm like, well, you got to kind of have this to shift, and I get it. But, you worked so hard to bring everybody back together almost, only to split them up again, Walking Dead style. And then you give us this episode where literally almost nothing happens. Now, a lot is done. All right, a lot is said. This is an exposition episode as the day is long. They are so expository as to almost need a suppository. Oh wow, that was poetic. But I mean, it was exposition for exposition's sake. And again, I think I said this last week that one of the problems I have with Metellus sometimes is he's a teller, not a shower. He's going to tell you things. He's not going to show you things. And so we get ourselves into this position where, and we'll go through a beat by beat breakdown. It'll probably be rather short. But long story short of it is, basically Act 2 consisted of nothing more than Vadek doing an info dump of how she came to be. And you don't know how much of it's true. And of course there's things missing. And of course, again, Starfleet's the asshole. And it's the problem I have with Trek these days. Starfleet used to be this thing that you would aspire to. Starfleet used to be this thing that, that was a utopian thing. And I think it has to do with our time. I think it has to do with our current American culture in that, for 4 years and, for 4 years before that for certain people. And then ever since pretty much almost 9/11, ever since almost the election of 2000, it's been kitsch. It's been in the zeitgeist. It's been culturally significant to not trust, to not like your government. And I think that is falling into Trek. What kills me is that this isn't the only time our culture's been like this. The original Trek was created during the fucking Vietnam War.
Yes.
Where everybody hated America. I mean, and Roddenberry had a vision for, and I mean, look, listen, a lot is written about Roddenberry and how great he is and the vision he had. The guy was a misogynistic pig. He was this side of Ernest Hemingway. We know this. But he had a vision. He did say, I want to make a utopian type of thing, give people hope for where we're going in the society. It was a very, very good thing. He wasn't a perfect man, but he was, he did have a vision. And it's like ever since certain people have been in charge of Trek, and I'm gonna say it now. Alex Kurtzman is the freaking Antichrist of Star Trek. It's been Starfleet is wrong. Starfleet is evil. Starfleet is warmongering. Starfleet is a military institution. Starfleet is out to kill you, and they are horrible people, and da 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 da. And I'm sorry, I'm kind of tired of it. I'm tired of that. And I understand this Dominion storyline and the changelings that, you know, to have skin in the game, to have a conspiracy storyline, you have to have Starfleet be in jeopardy, and you have to have Starfleet be the bad guy. Okay, you've got that. All right, I'm understanding that, but it has to end soon.
Yes.
If Star Trek is going to continue, it has to end soon, because right now, Star Trek is white noise. I do feel that way. I feel that Star Trek has become white noise in this culture of everything sucks, everything is awful, we're all divided, right wing, left wing, militant, all of this stuff. Okay, everybody is on separate sides of the aisles, nobody's talking. And Trek used to be a way to escape some of that. In every iteration that they were created, okay, in the 60s, it was obviously the Vietnam War. In 87, when Next Gen came out, don't forget, we had 7 years of Reagan. We had a pretty divided country in some regards, but also a bit of a more militaristic, jingo type of society. You follow that up with Bill Clinton, and, you know, it had this way of being like, things are going to work out okay. Keep going, keep getting through this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's churned into this, you know, they want to tell these I get it. You want to tell these political stories. You want to make a statement. This is art, and I understand it's art, but man,
But don't make the main people into bad guys.
Yeah, and they're not, they have it. It's not like Picard's a bad guy. Well, it's not like, you know, it's
the main organization.
Right. Like it used to be Starfleet against the Romulans, the Klingons, the Ferengi in the beginning, the Borg, you know, the Changelings, the Dominion. And Starfleet was something to aspire to. Starfleet had this reputation for being an organization of peace and an organization of explorers. And in the last 10 to 15 years, actually, you know what? No, I'm going to say it, 2009. Well, not so much 2009. 2011 or 2012, whenever Into Darkness. Ever since Into Darkness, ever since Kurtzman had more of a voice in Trek, we have gotten that Starfleet sucks. Starfleet is a militaristic institution. Into Darkness was about the fact that Starfleet wanted to go to war. Star Trek Beyond was the fact that Starfleet left these guys out in the middle of nowhere, and so we're going to go and destroy Starfleet. You know, and then you've got Discovery, and Discovery started out with, we can't trust the captain. And it's always, and then Picard, don't even get me started on Picard season 1 and 2. I'm tired of it. I am tired of it. I need you to do something positive. I need you guys to turn this around. But I get it that this is where we're at. This episode needed more. It needed a little less exposition. I think they should have probably, you know, they could have focused on Raffi and Worf investigating this whole Riker thing. And had the invasion of the Titan be the B plot, actually. But I also understand you got to pay salaries. Amanda Plummer, I am certain Amanda Plummer did not come cheap. All right, she is. I think she's Oscar winning. If she's not, she's been nominated. I mean, she's a well-known actress. She's a well-known character actress. She's Hollywood royalty. She's born to Christopher Plummer. I have no doubt in my mind, okay, that the budget for this was a budget cut episode. All right, they talk about it in every story. I love this. I forget what the name of the book is, and I'll look it up here. But you know, while I'm talking, but there was a book I was reading. I think it was called "These Are the Voyages," where it was just a bunch of interviews. Okay, and they talk about how the bottle show came around, how they invented the bottle show, which was, you know, because Next Generation was kind of expensive, and So they were like, okay, to keep budgets down every couple of, all right, it was a 50-year mission. I'm sorry. They're like, every couple of episodes, we have to, it's so 50-year mission. You got to look it up. It's great. They're like, every season, there's got to be 2 or 3 episodes where we don't leave the ship. So and some of those are the best episodes of Next Gen. I mean, Lower Decks, prime example. One of the absolute best episodes. They never leave the ship. The episode.
And they don't make any new sets either.
Right. And that's what it is. They don't make new sets. There's not a lot of guest stars. I mean, they brought in some guest stars because you had to deal with people that were lower. But, they got them for a song.
I was going to say, they got no-name people that were just more so happy to be there and have a job.
Right. So I get that you have to have a bottle show. I 100% understand it. I'm fine with it. And I'm assuming that you're doing this because you budget the show for a season and you start talking to your effects guys and going, okay, this space battle in episode 9 and 10, we're gonna need some serious money for that. And so they're like, okay, we'll do the episode in the nebula, we'll throw a rock, and then they'll stay on the ship and we'll have this, and then episode 7 we'll have them pretty much stay on the ship, and we'll cut the cast in like a third. We'll have Jonathan Frakes because we're paying him anyway for half an hour. We'll have but we won't have Troy, we won't have Rorf, we won't have Rafi. Okay, I can get behind that. Okay, I can, but I kind of wish they had gone the other way. I think they learned their. Here's the thing: I think they learned their lesson last season. I think there was 1 or 2 episodes of Picard where you never saw Picard, or if you did, he was like in the background. While they were in LA and they were dealing with Rafi and Seven and shit. So I can understand where they're like, we don't want to do that again. So I get why it happened, but it feels like the circumstances dictated the writing as opposed to having the writing be organic. I think they had a place where they had to end up. They're like, okay, at the end of episode 7, Vadic's got to be in command of the Titan. Shit's got to go down. Everybody has to be split up. Lore has to be plugged into the ship so he can do crazy stuff. So next episode we could talk about Lore. And it's backwards writing. And then they're saying, how do we get there? And that's how we end up with this episode. I mean, what do you think? Am I off? Or?
No, you are 1,000% on the money there. It was painfully obvious that they had to have budgetary concerns with this episode.
Yeah. I almost would have rather them just not have it and work those scenes into, move a little bit of episode 6, maybe end at episode 5 with Geordi, and have episode 6 deal with, or end episode 5 with Worf showing up on the ship and them having that big powwow and deciding to go to see Geordi and end it there. And then episode 6, six being half, taking this, cut it down in half, and you could still get to
add
the Titan,
add the data stuff,
and then you have Worf and Rafi next episode just looking for Riker and Troy. I get it. All right, I understand it. I mean, it was a lot of exposition. Likewise, I do feel like there was a disconnect. One of the biggest things I realized was Lore and Data. They talked about, they're like, well, there's 4 personalities in there. We have Lore and Data and B4 and Alton Soong. And I like that they said Alton Soong.
5.
No, that's just it. Watch it again. He said 4. They forgot about Lal.
They've already written her off. I missed that again.
Yes, that it pissed me off. I'm like, you went out of your way to mention her twice in the last episode. And I get it, because you could sit there and go, well, she's a part of Data, and we're just kind of lumping her in there. No, you screwed up. Yeah. I liked some parts of that. I loved watching Brent Spiner do his thing, because holy shit, that guy is an amazing actor, and you see, you didn't get to see it very much.
You talk about shapeshifters.
Yes.
Brent Spiner is one.
Yes, and he does it, and you don't get to see, you never really got to see that on Trek, because it was always cut edits because he was the second person. To be able to have him switch between them, and I mean, mid-conversation, mid-sentence, and when he does it, he changes the cock of his head. He goes from, yes, Captain, I am Lore, and I'm here to kill you. And I mean, just this incredible transformation and an incredible talent. I could have had more of that. But again, shitty writing. Lore was not a force for chaos. Lore was a petulant child.
Yes.
He was always written as he was written as Cain. All right, from the Bible, he was written as the brother who was passed over for the more perfect son. And so he always had problems with, I'm not trying to proselytize here. I've always felt that Cain and Abel is Data and Lore. And, and so having these two brothers and having one brother be kind of evil. So that's where this whole trope comes from. And it was always about, and I mean, the best part was when you saw Data and Lore in, it was Brothers. Yeah. The episode where they find Dr. Soong.
Yes.
And Lore gives us all, that's again, telling, not showing, but Lore gives it to us. He's like, why didn't you fix me? It was within your power to fix me, and he's like a petulant child and he knows what he's doing is wrong. And he does it anyway. Yeah. And here, Geordi's like, he just loves the chaos. And I'm like, I'm not buying it. You didn't earn that. It was never about the chaos. It was always a plan. He always had a plan. Right. I love what they're like. Has he always been this arch? I'm like, yeah, kind of, if you think about it. But it just, it was one of those episodes. I mean, guys, we're going to break it down for a little bit. We'll give you kind of some of the beats. We kind of touched on Tuvok. That's the big reveal this week, the big surprise. And it was right at the top of the show. I was a little annoyed with Paramount Plus because I tend to watch with the subtitles on because sometimes just their audio quality isn't that good and a voice will go low and I really want to know. And I'm watching it with the subtitles. And if you watch it, go back and watch it with subtitles on. She's talking to a screen. They're not showing us who it is. You hear a voice and you should be able to identify Tuvok if you're a fan. And then it said right there, Tuvok. And for me, it blew it. Because they wanted that reveal shot, of it goes, you watch the camera, goes around Seven's left shoulder, and then it goes to the screen, and you see, and there's a reveal shot there. Why the hell didn't it just say man? Like, why didn't it say, male voice, blah, 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 blah. By saying Tuvok, you blew the reveal. But in any event, it was so good to see him. I love Tim Russ. He's Star Trek royalty. He's been, a Vulcan. He was on Generations. He was the ensign there on the Enterprise B. Yeah. I just love him. I thought it was great. What did you think of that?
Yes, I love Tim Russ. Great guy, great actor. It took me out of it a little bit.
Okay.
That his ears looked so huge.
Yeah, they were a little bit different.
It almost looked like
Romulan.
Green Goblin ears instead
they looked
of Vulcan
Romulan.
ears.
The Romulans always had more pronounced ears. Vulcans tended to be more in. And that could, here's the thing. As I understand it, they say that your ears are the only thing that grows. That will consistently grow throughout your lifespan. Yeah. So Tim Russ's ears got bigger. Okay. I could get around that a little bit. And I love this thing they did there. And you could tell she's testing him, and it's fantastic. They show the lieutenant off to the side, who is a Vulcan, and she's reading, and she's like, they're doing a lie detector thing, and things look good, and then all of a sudden, you get like we're unable to tell if it's a lie or not, and Seven drops the Calto thing, and Tuvok's like, if I recall, you beat me at Calto countless times. And I don't know if you noticed this. It's me as a music major. I did. She gets this smile on her face, and it's the Voyager theme. And I didn't catch it.
I had the volume way down again.
Yeah, trust me. Go watch it again. they play the Voyager theme in the background, and I'm like, this is great. Wow, so cool. And then she's like, meet me here, and she's like, no Vulcan would go here. They had the
Colonar riots or something.
They
like
had
that.
the colonoscopy riots. No, colonar riots, and you know that my neural net was fixed by my friend Tuvok on Voyager. And again, Tim Russ does the same thing. You immediately see him like smile, and he's like, and he gets this cocky air to him.
Oh yes,
it was.
Yeah,
I loved it. I had high hopes at that point. I'm like, shit, if the rest of the episode's like this.
And then
spoiler alert, it was not. So they cut it off before they can track them. So they then they do the first exposition dump of where Worf and Rafi went, which again, I thought Worf was going off on his own. They didn't say Worf and Rafi before. He's like, I will find him, Commander, or Captain, or Admiral, blah, 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 blah. And then, we see Vadic in her scene with her hand skull thingy. And again, they kind of mention that their races are different. I believe wholeheartedly that she's working with the Great Ling Changelings. But I also believe that they no longer consider her because she can maintain her form. I won't be surprised,
right.
And I won't be surprised to find out they can't link in the Great Link. So, and basically they kind of do that. She's like, well, and they're like, find him. It was kind of, well, we've seen it. We've seen the scene. It was on the Ready Room last week.
Now they did say prior to this, went to talk to Data for a while.
Yes.
And there's something in Picard's body that they wanted. Right.
I was going to bring that up next. So they talk, they have their little powwow again, and Geordi's like, well, we know somebody we can ask. They activate Data lore and give us another exposition of exactly how this works. And again, a completely different explanation than last week, where they never even mention Lal. So again, I'm already like, now I'm starting to get a little nervous. Now I'm like, oh shit, there's a whole lot of talking.
Yeah.
Again, Data we've talked about it. Brent Spiner does his thing. He's amazing at it. He goes and starts talking about all this stuff. And he shares that, I guess so was he saying that Irumodic syndrome is not what Picard has?
I was a little confused on that too. It sounded like the Irumodic syndrome may be something that gets caused by something else that we don't yet track.
Yeah. And that kind of, I'm not sure how I felt about that. Again, it feels like a bit of backward writing. I think they know what they want to do. But I watched a video last week, and I can't remember the streamer's name. I will try to link to it somehow. But he kind of broke down the problem he's having, and it was something I said similarly, is that this season-long mystery, this mystery box idea, I don't think it's working for Star Trek. Because you get episodes like this where, last week they had to make us think that Jack just had Irumodic syndrome. Now they have to, it's obvious that Jack doesn't have Irumodic syndrome, and that Picard may never have had it. It's this constant, it's lazy writing, it's lazy mystery writing, and it's doing it to just it. And now that I think about it, wasn't Alex Kurtzman associated with Lost? All makes fucking sense.
Actually, I was gonna equate it more to House.
Yeah, it's the same. And I gotta find that out now. I think Kurtzman was a part of Lost, and if that's the case, I take it back. This is what it is. But yeah, I mean, the fact is, it is what it is. I don't think they know what they want to do. I really don't. I don't think they have any idea what it is they want to be in part of, you know.
I think that they, like you've said, they have their end goal in mind.
Right.
But
and he wasn't a part of
how they
Lost. He
get
just worked
there-
with Abrams a lot. So, but yeah, go
But
ahead.
how they get there, they're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, and that to me is pretty obvious. And I don't understand why you're still trying. You can't be trying to figure it out, though. It's not like this is reality TV and shit happens, and so we have to change it. It's the fact that they're not. It's not consistent. So it seems like they're like, well, this audience won't know. And again, we're not Star Wars fans. I mean, I am. We are Star Wars fans, but this isn't a Star Wars thing. All right, Star Wars. Let's face it. Star Trek's a different caliber as far as valuing intelligence. Really, I mean, Star Wars is kind of like a shoot 'em up space opera western thing. Trek has always been much more sci-fi nerd, you know, incredibly intellectual. We're all into, you know, valuing education, valuing science. It's like sometimes they forget who the frack they're writing for.
And I think wouldn't that then lay heavily on the shoulders of the showrunner?
That would be
to
Matalas.
make sure things are consistent.
I do not worship at the altar of Matalas. I really don't. I think he's better than Kurtzman. I do. But I don't think
that's a low bar.
Honestly, you know who I wish they would tap? I really do. I mean, I know he's doing Outlander and he's got a few other things, but Ronald D. Moore wrote some of the best Trek ever, especially for these characters. Their voice. I mean, his interpretation of their voice. Damn it! Like, get Ronald D. Moore back. You know, have him run a show. Oh my
honestly,
God! I give anything for that.
This will let people into another of my sci-fi geekery moments.
Galactica.
I would love to see J. Mike Straczynski do some stuff.
That'd be like George Lucas doing it. You can't. You really can't. Babylon 5, he drew a line in the sand. You know, there are very few. I don't know very many Trek people. You're one of the few, man. And that's why I love you, because most people are like Babylon 5 or Trek. And, you know, and there was so much said during that in the old days, like their little war between DS9. I don't see how you let Straczynski in. I'd like to see it. I watched a bit of Babylon 5. It never grabbed me, but go ahead.
I was in hook, line, and sinker on it.
Were you really?
For the full 5-year run.
Yeah, give me DS9 any day.
What's that?
Give me DS9 any day. But I get, you're not wrong. He's one hell of a showrunner, and I just don't know that it would be very interesting to see him take over Trek, because I don't know how their fans would react. Because we can be pretty damn toxic when we want to be. Case in point, this episode, I should have put a warning like, hey, as positive as we get, this might be a bit toxic tonight. It's tough. Yeah. So Matalas, I mean, yeah. Again, this is better than if Kurtzman was running, which he was season 1. And I think season 2 he had a lot to do with. I think they split, like he took over halfway through season 2. I'm not sure, but it's I'm struggling with some of the direction they're going. I'm hoping that they kind of pull us out of it.
They're kind of in their like 40 years in the wilderness moments right now.
Right.
And with only 3 episodes left, we need to get things going.
Well, that's just
here.
it. I think next episode,
get the wheels in motion.
You know, I've heard talk. Some people who got pre-screenings, like I think they got the first 8 episodes. They're like 7 and 8 should have been 1 episode. They're like a lot of exposition. So I get the feeling in 8 shit's gonna go down. Well, you have to, because you can't do Frontier Day in 1 episode. I think the end of the next episode has to be them warping into Earth for Frontier Day, and Frontier Day is a 2-episode arc. But in any way, basically, Lore is kind of like Data's telling him about the aromatic syndrome. They're kind of wondering if they should delete Lore from his programming. And Geordi's like, you know what? I have no idea how this is put together. I barely knew how the original Data worked. This is a work of art. He's like, I don't think we can. He's like, if we lift the partition, there's every chance that Lore's stronger personality is going to overwrite Data. And Geordi's like, and that was LeVar Burton. Okay, that was cool. His moment where he's like, losing you broke me. He's like, I can't do it again. When he's like losing Data, and then he's telling Data, he's like, I never got over, you leaving. He's like, I was changed because you were dead. Great stuff, really.
Absolutely.
So, the other big thing that was kind of going on was Jack and Sydney. They're kind of having their little flirtation, and Jack's kind of getting the red eyes again. And then something fracking just, again, what the absolute F? What in the hell is going on now? So all of a sudden, Jack and Sydney are on the turbo lift, and he's talking, he's kind of getting a little moves on. He's like, what's your quarters like? Mine's a little larger. I got a cracking little suite, and he's pretty much inviting her to join her there.
Yeah.
And
it's basically my place or yours.
Yeah. And she starts thinking about him, and, she's trying to I forget how she's putting it, but she's basically like, I got to make him work for it a little more. It's not even like he's touching my hand. And so he then reaches out and kind of strokes her hand. Yeah. She's like, why did you do that? And she's starting to become kind of freaked out because he basically read her mind. What the hell? So now he's a telepath? I'm like,
not even Betazoid, full on telepath.
Honestly, now I'm sitting here going, is this Riker's son? Like, is this Riker and Troy's son and the changelings took him? I don't know. Like, I'm just like, which will piss me off still. But I that was the only thing I could think of. And we'll talk about it in speculation. It's obvious that Sydney was a little freaked out. Jack goes up to the bridge. He starts trying to talk to Picard. And basically, he's like, listen, I'm going to turn myself in. He's like, Will Riker has a wife and a daughter, and this isn't worth it. I can't die. And Picard's really trying to stop him. And then they come up with this idea to bait Vadic and the other ship. Because Will Riker's prefix code was set, which is a way for a captain to tell you that he's been taken and he's in trouble. Vadic and the crew get an alert from a Starfleet vessel that they found the Titan and that it's dead in space. They show up, and basically for some weird reason, there's no security personnel whatsoever, but Jack and Sydney are going to take down the changelings. Again,
I guess all the security people got beamed off over to the Intrepid.
It's shitty writing. I don't care. No, the security people would be the last people you would beam off. Like, even Ro would be like, you're going into battle, you're going to need some security. Like, because Ro was deciding who was leaving. You can't tell me that. Because she knew what was going to happen. She knew she was going to send Picard off on his own. There's no way she would take the security people. Again, lazy, stupid writing. So they're on the ship. Sydney and Jack, they trap a few changelings, and then they get trapped. And they're stuck in a force field. Geordi's trying to get him out, and he can't. All of a sudden, Lore shows up and locks him out of the room he's in. He's in control of the computer. He's taking control of the Titan computer. Yeah. And Vadic is running around. She goes to sickbay. Beverly and Picard trap her in a hermetically sealed force field, where we now get the info dump of all info dumps of where Vadic comes from. And meanwhile, we get Lore again. He's taking over more and more of the ship. They can't beam Sydney out. Geordi's starting to really lose it. He thinks he's going to lose his daughter. And they cut back to Picard and Beverly. And we'll talk about this in speculation. There's an interesting scene with Beverly and Vadic, where Beverly is talking to Vadic by herself. And Vatic is behaving in a very strange, non-Vatic-y way. And then when Picard shows up, she kind of starts chewing every piece of scenery again. She goes through her situation. What she is and what the others are changelings that were taken by the Federation, supposedly, and experimented on for Project Proteus, for the virus that was going to kill all the changelings. And they were how they were experimenting on them. Starfleet was experimenting
took
on
POWs
them.
and
Right.
subjected them to
I don't
science
care that it's Section 31. I don't care. They went out of their way to say this is a Section 31 facility. I call bullshit. I'm sorry.
Someone oversees 31.
Yeah, it's horse crap. It's absolute junk. And in any event, she shares with them. She's like, I killed the woman who created us, and then I took her face, and they were like, why? So I'd always remember, and it's just, it again, it reveals something we needed to know, but in the most clunky and clumsy
long
way.
Drawn out.
Yeah. So, meanwhile, the force shields are failing between Jack and Sydney, and they fail altogether, and then a force field comes up between them from Lore. Lore's screwing with them. He's going to make Jack watch Sydney die. Meanwhile, Jack fights off his changeling with like 30 seconds. He phases him dead. And then he uses his mental powers that he's never had before now, and apparently puppeteers Sydney beating the other one.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Deus Ex Machina of that is beyond. They are stretching credibility, and we're talking about a show that makes explosion noises and pew pew in space. Okay?
And
you're stretching credibility.
And you thought that the Sons of Crusher, the Deus Ex Machina, would be Wesley all the time.
That's still coming. Mark my words. We'll see Wesley. And so they do that. Meanwhile, Geordi tries to haggle and reach Lore and Data. He appeals to Lore, he appeals to Data. Data breaks through, but it's really too late. He gets through, and he gets through with Geordi, because meanwhile, Vatic and Picard, during all this, Lore shuts down the force field in sickbay. So now Vatic can escape. Vatic escapes through an upper portal and all this, and she, starts running through Jeffrey's tubes, or whatever they call them here. Captain Shaw gets on a turbo lift, and all of a sudden Vatic is there as well. She beats the living daylights out of him. Drops him on the bridge. Her and her people arrive on the bridge. They hold a blaster or a phaser to Seven's head. She takes control of the ship, declares herself the captain. We cut through the ship where we see Geordi and his one daughter there together with Lore, Data. We show Picard and Beverly sitting in sickbay. We show Jack and Sydney kind of running around. And she's like, I am Vatic, captain of the USS Titan. And show.
Yep.
Literally. What the absolute hell. It was... I got to the end of it, and I'm like, that was an hour? Nothing happened. Nothing... I mean, you literally... Again, that's how they wanted to end it. Captain of the USS Titan. Cliffhanger.
But at least we know how to track the changelings now. They did find that out.
They did find that. Again, they needed it. Well, again, you have to, because we're moving forward, and we're going to need to know how to do this. So, yeah, that's kind of the episode in a nutshell. I mean, what are your thoughts? I mean, we've kind of kicked the dead horse here, but
yeah, I mean, I just Ugh.
I know. Why don't we go ahead and do our Geek to Geek here, and we'll come
Yeah.
back and speculate.
When toxic culture has you down,
When you're just looking to laugh and have fun.
Kick back and enjoy watching a video game.
Or just make some new friends.
It's time to visit the Geek to Geek Media Network,
a community of podcasters, streamers, and bloggers.
Well, more of a family than a community.
all dedicated to geeking out about the things we love. Things like
video games,
Star Wars,
comics,
movies,
K-pop,
Disney Plus,
Keanu Reeves,
No.
Or whatever our community decides is the next best thing.
That's right. We have a great online community on Slack and Discord where we chat about our weekly geekery with listeners and viewers.
and each other.
Yep, and each other in real time, and we can't wait for you to join us.
So come check us out at geektogeekmedia.com.
and escape toxic fandom for something much more.
Keanu.
Yes, Keanu.
I feel a little toxic fandom right now, but why don't we beam up?
Scotty, beam me up.
Okay, speculation. We don't mean to be so toxic, guys. I apologize. All right, so let's kind of break down some stuff here. We obviously still had some questions. The biggest one I think we have to talk about is Jack. What do you think is going on?
Oh, there are so many things that don't make sense. You try to pigeonhole him over here, and no, this piece doesn't fit. You pigeonhole him over there, no, this piece doesn't fit. I at this point, I'm just giving up on even trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm still leaning toward a half-breed of some sort.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Uh-oh.
I just had a
Light
thought.
bulb moment?
All right. So, what if the Irumodic syndrome in Picard came from the Borg implants, and the Borg assimilated races? And the Borg, I don't think we've had a Borg have a baby. I don't know of any it's not like Seven popped a kid out. And the only Borg, well, no, they had a bunch of them on the Romulan ship. So, yeah, never mind. Season 1 of Picard, which I totally forgot about. I'm wondering if more, they did talk about that with Irumodic syndrome, and they were like, it may not have been that. I think they're going to try to lean towards when Picard was. I have a feeling it's not about the Irumodic syndrome. It's not about making a perfect thing of Picard. I keep thinking more and more they want to bring Locutus back. And Picard's new body won't have any of the Borg implants that were there. And Jack's blood, I think Jack, because let's pivot to that. We'll skip 2 for right now. We'll go to Beverly. All right, the scene where Vadic and her are talking. Okay, Vadic seems like she knows far more about Beverly than maybe even Beverly does. I forget what she said, but it was pretty much like, do you even know what you are, or do you even know what he is? It was just, she had this air of, I know something you don't know, doo-dah. And, she brings up Wesley. She's like, and now you're going to lose another son just like you lost your first one. Yada, yada, yada. I'm pulling up the thing we were looking at earlier. But, let me see here, because somebody wrote about it. Well, she took a note. Yeah, because Beverly says she took an oath to do no harm. She's beginning to rethink that. He thinks he knows that the changelings are up to with his body, and she doesn't deny it. Instead, she seizes on Beverly's line of questioning about their advanced physiology. She points out that Jack was not for her, in the same way he wasn't really for you either. She said, pointing to Beverly. I think now more than ever, Beverly is a changeling. Beverly is a sleeper changeling. I think we're going to find that either Beverly Crusher, the OG Beverly Crusher, is dead or has been in captivity for all these years. I think Beverly is a sleeper changeling. I think when Picard impregnated her, they had no intention of them having a child together. but because of the aromatic syndrome or the Borg implants or what, they'll invent some sort of reason. And because the Borg had assimilated, that's how they'll give him powers. Because they assimilated betazoids. And Picard made a baby. And yeah, that's how that works.
Yeah. At the very end of the prison break scene that we're going to have, because Worf and Rafi will break Riker and Deanna out.
That's the end of the next episode. They'll find Beverly in a cell.
As they're running,
yep,
they'll not know when that's her, but
they will. They'll look and be like, Beverly?
Is that you?
And she will look completely different. She'll be haggard, and yeah, I think I think we're right. I think this Beverly, the big line of that, and Amanda Plummer sold it. He wasn't really for you. It's like, huh. So, I definitely feel that, I think that's what Jack is. I don't know why he's telepathic. They'll invent a reason. Or that changeling. Well, I don't know. Did it happen in DS9? Did a changeling ever take a Betazoid over and get their powers? But these guys get the organs.
Not that I can remember.
These guys get the organs of people, though. I wonder if they take over a Betazoid, do they get the powers because of how they operate? Oh, that's it. That could be very well what's happening here. But again, you're dragging it out too long. You should have told us this already.
Yes, we need to be in on it a little bit more.
Yeah, they're not giving us enough information to keep us interested. They're counting on our goodwill, and it's fine. They've got it, but
it's waning real fast.
Yes, it is. Let's talk a little bit about lore data. What do you think's going on with there? How do you think this is going to all shake out?
Oh, I think, man, I really hope this isn't what's going to happen, but I feel like they're going to end up doing the metaphysical universe where lore talks to Data inside Data's head,
and they come together.
They come together
and integrate. I think that's how it's going to happen. I think you're right.
Yeah, I think it's going to take way too long, time wise.
It's going to happen next episode. The next episode's titled Lore, so I think it happens next episode, because again, Data serves a purpose in the plot. You can't have Data. You can't have the chaos that is lore Data running around in your third act. So they're gonna resolve it next episode. It's gonna be, and it is. I think it's gonna be. He's like, Data is gonna take over somehow, beat lore, and have lore's memory and ability to feel emotions, but control it and be four and the whole nine. And yeah, I think that's how that's going to shake out too. It has to happen next episode, because I don't think you can have this going into the last two. We're down to 3 episodes, and they've got to do something. And speaking of that, we're down to 3 episodes. So who else do you think we can expect to see? I still think Nana Visitor's coming.
I would definitely not be surprised if I saw her. I
think you're right about O'Brien. I think O'Brien jumped between 2 shows. I think getting Cole Meany would be easy. So I think we'll see O'Brien somewhere. Plus, it brings Molly and I forget what his son's name is.
Keiko.
No, his son.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think it brings Molly and his son in.
Was it Julian?
It might be Julian, but it brings Molly in to the quote unquote legacies that people are talking about.
Right.
I think we'll see O'Brien. I think that's all. I think that's almost a non-starter. I think that's going to happen. I think we'll see Nana Visitor, because they're going to want to get somebody from DS9 or Quark. They'll pull Armin Shimmerman out of Mothballs.
God, because he's been in everything.
Right. So
I expect at Frontier Day to see Admiral Janeway.
Yeah, they're bringing her up quite a bit, and Kate, and she's already in the Star Trek universe because of Prodigy. Yep. So I 100% agree with you. I wish there was a way. You know who they would have had, right? Like
They would
Aaron
have
Eisenberg.
had Renee.
If Aaron Eisenberg was still alive, we'd have Nog on the bridge of a ship.
Yes.
You know that. It sucks that he's not alive.
Absolutely.
Because I would have loved to have seen that. Having Nog, and don't fucking recast him. Do not bring out a guy who kind of looks like Aaron. No. He played that role so well.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'd love to see it. I think it's going to be, if we're going to get anybody, it's going to be either O'Brien, which will feel like checks the DS9 box.
Yeah.
Maybe, I think O'Brien, Kira, but I think O'Brien buys you a lot more story-wise. Although having Kira dealing with changelings.
Yeah.
And being like, where's Odo? Where is Odo? And oh my gosh, Vatic look at him and go, Odo was killed the minute he hit the Great Link. They took him over. And this idea that, holy shit,
Yeah, and that, but.
Which feels like Dark Trek.
Yeah, you brought up a point that I'm now going away from them having O'Brien because, as you said, it opens itself up to a lot of story. We don't have a lot of time left.
Right. Well, no, by a lot of story, I mean for the future show, because they can introduce Molly.
Okay.
I'd like to see, if Janeway is involved, please give me Paris and give me Morale. Bring Morale Paris on. Have her be her, Janeway's helmsman. Morale was her name, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Like give me, Paris's daughter at the helm of the ship. I think that would be fantastic. Listen, one of the problems I can have with Trek a little bit lately is that the universe feels fucking small. Like all of a sudden, the fact that Seven knows Picard so intimately, but they never met, and all these guys keep kind of dropping in. One of the things they did when there were 4 Trek shows on at a time is, they might have one crossover a season or every couple of seasons. But for the most part, they were all pretty independent, yes. And it gave Starfleet this sense of wideness and bigness. Now you're like, we're bringing all the ships back to Earth. So I think we're going to see a shit ton of people. Like the fact that they've brought it up a bunch of times, we're bringing all the ships in. Okay. They're going to call everything out. They're going to bring everything. Now, I don't know how they work Yar in at this point. I don't think they can work Sela in. Unless here's how I wish they bring her back. If they do this legacy show, I've never liked the explanation that the writers had in what the hell was the name of the episode there? Well, the Klingon War episodes there at the end of season 3 and 4, or at the end of season 4 and 5, where Denise Crosby is like, my mother tried to get me out. I shouted. They captured her. They killed her. I'm like, did they?
Did they kill her?
Yeah. And I could see, and that would be how you could that's how you could bring Yar back. And she'd be the right age. You have Yar show up and be like, you could have her show up and be like, I was rotting in a Romulan prison until the world exploded. And I was one of the few people, when the Federation came to take refugees, they found me in a cell and brought me out. And oh my God, put her on the bridge of a ship. Okay, that would be great. That would be fantastic. This version for the Enterprise C came, and she's now commanding a starship. Why not? I don't think it'll happen, but I don't know how you work her in, but I'd really wish they could find a way to bring Denise Crosby in. But that's kind of it. Let's kind of pivot to companion watches because we're getting low on time.
Yeah.
So we've got 3 here. What you put 2 down on? I'll talk about mine. Talk about your 2 there.
Okay, so from Deep Space Nine, Season 7, Episode 23, called Extreme Measures. It shows what Julian Bashir. It shows Odo.
It's the penultimate episode of the series, right? It's second to last one, or third to last. It was 23.
I think they had 26.
Oh, okay.
that season. So, but it's up there. Basically, Odo already has the disease, and O'Brien and Bashir have to bait a Section 31 person to come to the station so they can root around in his mind and find the cure.
Right.
Which they end up giving to Odo, and he ends up being fine, and then
he takes to the
transmits
Great
it
Link.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I mean, here's the thing: you can't go wrong here. A companion watch should always be season 6 and 7 of DS9. It's the Dominion War.
Yeah.
You can't. I mean, they started. It's weird because they got kind of strange. They started the Dominion stuff at the end of season, I think 3, and then they kind of pivoted to Klingons for a season and a half, and then they kind of pivoted back to the Dominion. So, all right, what's your other one?
All right, the other one is from season 7 of Next Generation, episode 9, called "Force of Nature." It's a really touching story, and it gets to really showing just the dynamic of Geordi and Data together.
Okay, what happens? In what way?
I'm trying to remember what all happens in that one. I remember it's Spot gets loaned out to Geordi for a while to see if he would like to have a cat, which he doesn't. Spoiler alert.
Right.
And then Data is trying to housebreak Spot, if you will. But that's more the B plot line, and the A plot line.
Oh, this is the warp
really
episode. This is a very big episode. This is the warp This is something that they completely dropped like 10 seconds after they did it. This was the one about warp is breaking space.
It is the Warp 5 episode?
Yes.
Okay.
So, yeah, which they have they're like, what? No, we could always fly faster than that. What are you talking? Don't be ridiculous. I literally felt, even when I watched that episode, I was like, wow, the writer's room is just like, screw you, Voyager.
Yeah, I was thinking that the Warp 5 episode had something to do with the scientists with the Soliton wave.
No, that was this one. So
okay,
yeah, it's remember the brother and sister, they're eco-terrorists and they sabotage ships because you know they sustain warp drive is destroying the fabric of space.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So it's one of those weird. That was always one of those episodes that kind of I was like, all right, it has an interesting concept. I don't think you executed very well. The one I brought up, which I thought was important because, I bring it up in kind of a tongue-in-cheek way. I brought up Iborg, and that's the episode with Hugh. It was season 5, episode 23, I think, where basically the Enterprise finds some Borg on a planet. 2 of them are dead. 1 of them isn't. They bring him back. They nurse him to health. They give him a name. But they bring him back all with the intention of the throwaway line that they used at the beginning of season 4, where they talked about the nanites as a way to deal with the Borg. And it's decided that they should take Hugh. They're going to take this Borg and basically perform that thing. They're going to introduce nanites to him, have him go back, assimilate to the collective, and destroy the Borg altogether. Where they're talking, it's basically akin to genocide, and that's where this episode. This is one of the best episodes because it's what you want out of Trek. It's dealing with moral ambiguity, and yes, we've got something we can do that can kind of end this war, but should we end it this way? Like, how is history going to look at us? And the reason I bring it up as a companion watch is at the end of Act 1 of this episode of Picard, Beverly's sitting there and she's going, well, we could always do this thingy that does the thing. We could always introduce a virus to the changelings and kill them all. But I hesitate to do that because, I have a problem with genocide. And I'm like, wait, 20 years ago, I'm like sitting here going, okay, this is the second time you've brought up effectively wiping out an entire civilization. Are you sure you're not okay with genocide? I was like,
maybe
your
she
head
was
has
a
gone there
changeling
twice.
even back then.
My head has never gone to genocide. I'm not somebody who has genocidal tendencies. But now I'm really starting to think that Beverly Crusher has genocidal tendencies.
Very well could be.
Whoa. Oh. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Can you think of a time when Beverly Crusher was away from the Enterprise for a prolonged period of time?
Season 2.
Season 2. What if they took her then? What if the Beverly we have had since season 3 and through all the movies?
No. Unfortunately, that is pre-DS9, pre-wormhole, pre-founders.
I know. And that's where I would call the bullshit on it. But from a simply loving chaos perspective, it's the ballsiest thing you could come up with is that Beverly is not Beverly. It hasn't been Beverly for a very long time. I don't think they have the balls to do that. And plus she had remembrances of Wesley and stuff. But yeah, they had to do it after Wesley left. She had to leave the Enterprise because, again, she wouldn't have the history of Beverly, right? So, and that's why they would keep Beverly alive so that they could pump Beverly for information.
So, yeah. Somewhere during the Dominion War it occurred off screen.
Yep. I think we're right about that. I think we're going to find out that she's not Beverly, that Gates is playing a version of Beverly that's not Beverly. And now let's kind of pivot to news here as we kind of start wrapping things up. We got 2 really great bits of news. The first one being, and this is a surprise to no one, but we were kind of wondering because Paramount's getting weird about money, that Strange New Worlds Season 3 has been greenlit. They begin filming in May. Season 2 is coming out in June. I could not be happier. Again, Strange New Worlds is on the right track. It has very little to do with Kurtzman. I think that's part of it. But yeah, I mean, how do you feel about that?
Give me more of the updated Enterprise, NCC 1701, no bloody A, B, C, D, E, or F, G,
and then
alphabet.
Blow it to hell and have to refit it to look like a classic Constitution at the end of the series.
Yes, that's the finale episode.
I don't think they'll do it. I think they're just gonna be like hand wavy. They're like, we showed you a classic Constitution last, at the Fleet Museum. You'll live with that. And then the other this should be a happy piece of news. And at first it was. And then I read deeper because here's the thing. I've been hearing talk that Paramount's pissed at Kurtzman. That's why Discovery's going away. That's why Picard's going away. That they realize that Kurtzman has not been good for Trek. Paramount Plus is losing a shit ton of money every year. Like they realize they could be better, but they're just really struggling.
Well, but Disney is losing a shit ton of money on their streaming
but
service too.
that's because they didn't know when to quit with Marvel. So I really thought he was going to be out, and then come to find out this announcement comes today that Star Trek Starfleet Academy has been greenlit. It's going to be out. It's going to start filming in 2024, so it's probably not going to be out till 2025. It's going to focus on, a new class of cadets at Starfleet Academy. And at first I'm like, great. And then I read Alex Kurtzman is going to be the showrunner. God damn it.
At least he has a partner this time. Hopefully that person will be able to rein him in.
He's horrible. He doesn't understand Trek. He barely understands plotting. He doesn't get what he's doing. Like, I look at this and go, and Starfleet Academy, I've always said that's a very good show. That is a vital breeding ground for a really great show that could do a lot. It could reach younger viewers, and it could really make some of those political statements that Star Trek is known for without seeming like it's hitting you over the head with them because they're based on Earth. This guy is going to freaking ruin it. He's going to ruin it like he ruined Picard Season 1. He's going to ruin it like he ruined Discovery. He's going to ruin it like he ruined the damn movies of the Kelvin universe. It's just, I'm trying so hard not to be toxic. I know, guys, we try to be positive here. I just have to. I can't deal with Kurtzman. I'm so excited. Like, there's another thing that came out. It's not official yet, But we are not far off. More and more now, the next gen cast is like, yes, this is goodbye. Yes, this is our last hurrah. Unless it isn't. And they all kind of talk about this idea of Star Trek Legacies that Metalis has, where he wants to continue telling stories in this universe with the kids of the next generation, put them on a ship, which is going to allow people like Worf and all that so that they can pop in as guest stars, but have their own ship, go on exploratory missions and things of that nature. I'm kind of okay with that.
Yeah. Do it as like a 2 or 3 episode miniseries.
Right.
They don't have to do a full...
No, he's going to do a series. He wants to do like 10 episodes. But I mean, and I want that. I think I'm okay with that. I like Jack Crusher. I think he's a great character. They're really building Sydney. They're not doing much with Mika Burton, which makes me feel like she's not going to really be a part of it. But, it feels like they're doing something here. They are building. They realize they have a character in Shaw. I still think Shaw's going to die. I think Shaw is dead.
I'm wondering if Shaw is even alive at this point.
He was crying at the end of the episode. He was like on the floor in tears. Like he was like, my people are going to die. Like they keep revealing more of Shaw. They're going to kill Shaw. Shaw is the red shirt of this season. But yeah, I'm excited for Legacies. And they were like, yes, and it's going to be a Metalis. Kurtzman has nothing to do with it. Awesome. Thank you. So hopefully, and listen, it's 2 years away. Anything could happen. I still think they're trying to find ways to get Kurtzman out of there. So, I mean, I'm hopeful, but
yeah, I'm looking at the announcement here. The way it reads, it signals to me that it's going to be set in the future timeline of Discovery, because it says, for the first time in over a century, our campus will be reopened to admit individuals, blah, blah, blah. Talking about Starfleet Academy.
We don't want that. We don't want it. None of us want it.
At what other point is Starfleet
No, I know you're
Academy
right.
gonna be closed?
I know you're right. I know that's what it's going to be. But aren't they like 1,000 years in the future? Aren't they in 3,000 something? I haven't watched
I think it was only 900.
Oh, okay.
Close enough. Which would put them 750 ahead of next gen.
Yeah.
Right? But yeah, the way it reads, the way I'm reading into it, it's going to be new Discovery era.
I don't want it. Nobody wants it in Discovery. Nobody cares. We don't care unless you're going to freaking try. And you're not even going to be able to bring Brent Spiner out because we're aging lore. Damn it. Well, there's a many slip between a cup and a lip. I think things could change. I think they will change it because I think they're going to realize they have something here. So, but I think that's going to do it for us. I think we've been negative enough. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
I guess we should probably close hailing frequencies and start heading out. So, unless you got something else, brother.
No, man.
All right, let's hit it.
Hailing frequencies closed, sir.
All right, so as we warp out of this sector, we want to remind you where you can find us. First, you can download our show on most podcatchers, Google, Apple, etc., or just go to podcast.yourfatherstrekkpodcast.com. Likewise, please leave us an iTunes review. Even if you don't have an iPhone but have iTunes on your computer, you can leave us a review. Just go to our page in the podcast store. There is a link on our podcast page. This does so much to put eyes on the show. We really need them. Please leave us some 5-star reviews. And leave some great comments of how this show is good. The link for that, again, is on our podcast anchor page.
And you can also like our YouTube channel and subscribe at youtube.com /at your father's
Take it again.
Your father's
Take
Trek
it again.
podcast.
I'll edit it. Take it again.
All right. You can also like our YouTube channel and subscribe at youtube.com /at your father's Trek podcast, and follow our Facebook at facebook.com /your father's trekcast.
And we also have a website that we're working on to get things up and running. You can find it at yourfatherstrekkpodcast.com. And of course, if you want some great gaming content for Marvel Snap, Minecraft, or anything else I feel like streaming, please find me on Twitch or YouTube at OldManGamerNY at either Twitch or YouTube.
And if you'd like to write us, you can send an email to Will at Will at yourfatherstrekpodcast.com, or you can email me at jp at yourfatherstrekpodcast.com.
And on that note, that's going to do it for us this week. We are going to be back next time talking about episode 8. Hopefully, we'll have some fun things to discuss. Hopefully, it'll be a little more positive. So for JP and myself, I want to thank you for listening and watching tonight, telling your friends about the show, being a fan, and interacting with us however you can. And we want to remind you that we'll see you next time out there. That away. And we stop recording. All right. Well, we got through that without losing power.
All right.
Yeah, I feel bad. I was like, holy cow, I'm just Captain Negative tonight.
That's supposed to be my job.
Wow, it just is. I mean, this was just, yeah. All right.
Oh.
Mixing it down, then I'll grab your file. I'll re-edit them. I'll edit your stuff. I will, yeah. Overall, not bad. I really like the intro. Check out the intro later. I think it skips, though. I gotta figure out why that's skipping. It's got to be a resource problem. I may actually play it without sound and then run the sound behind it. I think I could do that. But I'm going to fix it anyway. There's some editing I want to do. I didn't realize that there are small words in the intro. And I know where it is because I found it on Hitfill. I downloaded this on DaVinci.
Okay.
And I found the file like this morning on where it is. It's like, it's such a pain to re-render though. Kitty. So, hello, Doodlebug. Say hello to the people. This is Doodlebug. Hello, Doodle. I know you want me to come upstairs with the red light. I know. Yes, hi.
Well, welcome to the after show, anyone who's still with us.
Yes, welcome to the cat after show. That's my wife's cat, but she's becoming mine. All right. So yeah, that was pretty good. That was a lot of fun. So where are you at on Snap? How's things going?
I think I'm just into the 600s.
Oh, cool.
640.
What's your deck?
I think it's the same one I
one
showed
you put
you
in there?
most recently. Although let's see what it. It's a collector deck.
Oh, okay.
The collector, Yondu.
A good deck.
Mantis Agent 13.
Yeah. You're putting cards in your deck. Yeah, cool. Yeah, they took Kitty Pryde away from me today.
Right.
Because Kitty Pryde's busted. So that sucked. I mean, I'll probably they'll be like, here's 50 credits. But yeah. Oh, yeah, that was a rough episode to watch today. I was almost going to be like, what if we just pretend it didn't happen and just do 7 and 8 together? But yeah, it's good. How's everything else going with you, though?
No, we're doing good. Tomorrow is my daughter's 7th birthday.
Aww.
And then Saturday we're doing the Chuck E. Cheese birthday.
Oh dear, good luck.
Uh-huh.
Good luck on that, dude.
Pray for me.
Yeah, right? All right. Well, that was a whole lot of fun, dude. I'm gonna actually you got your stuff in Google Drive?
I'm working on it right now.
All right, cool. I'll wait till it's done and then we'll end this. And I'm gonna go upstairs and go to bed a little early tonight, I think. So I've been too busy yelling at kids to get off my lawn.
Oh. and waving canes at clouds in the sky, huh?
Yeah. I gotta definitely put my I'll edit this too so that, I think we get a little more engagement when we actually make a video out of our live show after, the live show, I keep it in live and then, but it's like I have to edit the audio podcast and then the video cast. So it gets kind of frustrating. But I did something new tonight. I took the top part out where it was like streaming and all that, and I put in the episode title so that you can look at it and go, oh, this is episode 6, recording live. Okay. So that's a plus. And yeah.
Here we go. should be coming your way now.
All right, dude. All right. I'm going to go, dude, unless you got something else.
No.
All right.
Sounds like a plan.
Hey, all those you watching this stream right now, thanks for hanging with us tonight, man. We hope you dug it. And if you're watching this on replay, thanks for hanging out with us. We hope you dug it. So we'll catch you